Hello everyone, so in today's video we're going to talk about fixed expenses versus variable expenses. So I write a little bit small because there isn't much space, so I write really small, but I hope you can see it. Especially this variable because it's especially small. So let's write it a little bit bigger. There. Variable expenses. So, what is the difference between fixed expenses and variable expenses? Okay, so fixed expenses are things that are not easily changed. They are things that is not easily changed. So, let's say you have a bill of phone bills and you have to pay it every month, every week if the money went out. Not easily change. Like you have phone bills and you have to pay it every month, every year, every week if the money went out. Yes, you have to pay it. And if you don't pay it, then you're not gonna have money to communicate and stuff. So it is not easily changed. And also that fixed expenses is like not easily changed. What about variable expenses? Variable expenses are completely the opposite. It's completely opposite with fixed expenses. So variable expenses are discretionary. And easily change. Yes, there are discretionary and easily change, but fixed expenses are not easily changed. So that's the difference between two of this. So let's erase these two, and I'll have some like example of which thing will belong in it. So first of all, fixed expenses. They're things that stay the same. They're not easily changeable. Like a lot of example of this would be car payment, rent, insurance, bills that don't change from month to month. And then there's variable expenses, which are discretionary, and they are able to be changed fairly easily. So example, like when you are having an amount of money you would spend eating out, money you're gonna buy groceries or paying for entertainment. So things like that you can change depending on your choice. So some expenses can be both fixed, and some expenses can be both fixed and variable expenses. So for example, here are some. I'm gonna create it like a board. So which I'm gonna have to open up my bag to get my board. Well, I don't have a board, but get out my ruler, which is gonna help me to create a board here. So yeah. It is not equal to each other, but who cares? Okay. Going down. This one. Going over here. It is a square. It is almost a square, but it is not because it is not a square. It is kind of like a triangle, but does not look like a triangle at all. Which I will make it look like a square. It's this part away. Okay, that's great. But the thing is, these stuff got affected by the ruler and make it like that. Okay, great. Now I got my board, and I'm gonna write some example to this to see which one would fit in. Fixed expenses or variable expenses. Okay, so first of all, I would write car payment. Then I would write money spent on groceries. So if I write like this, it's mean that money spent on groceries. But since it had little spaces, I would know. I think I would have to erase this part. Groceries. Yes, money on groceries. Then rent, bills, bill, electric bill. I think it is enough to represent like stuff you need to have. So these are some examples that we have to find out which one is fixed expenses and which one is variable expenses. So let's try out with my blue pen. Okay, car payment bill. Okay, car payment bill cannot be easily changed because you have to pay, because the amount of money you pay for your car payment bill is the same. Yes, it is the same. So it is not easily changed, and if you do, it will take a really hard process to change it because you would have to buy so it is belong in the fixed expenses. How about the money spending for groceries? Well, you can, this one is quite like it, you need your money, your groceries money to buy food, because if you don't have food, you'll die because you don't have anything. You'll starve for death. So you need money to buy food, so it is not easily changed. But wait a minute. When you're going shopping and you always buy the most expensive thing. Let's say you're going shopping and you always buy the most expensive cereal. When the other stuff, they are also cereal, but they are not as expensive as that cereal. And you always buy the most expensive cereal when you can also buy like the cheaper one. So money you spend on grocery, it will be both in fixed expenses and variable expenses. Next up, a rent bill. Okay, rent bill. So you already rent something, so you always got the same amount of money you rent. It's not gonna change. Let's say you rent an apartment, you rent an apartment and it is $100 a month. Let's say $100 a week. Yes, it is a week and it is beautiful. It have every electricity and everything you already paid with that in the 100% too. In the $100 you already paid to. It is beautiful. But then you move to another house which is smaller and uglier. And yeah, it is still $100. That is the money. It's not gonna change anything. because if it do change, then it have to do something with the houses. Then maybe if the money do change, maybe your house become more beautiful, maybe your house become maybe you have to pay more, like more money on something else like that. So rent bill is a fixed expenses, because when you're renting something, it's always the same amount of money you rent at that one. How about electric bill? An electric bill, okay, so for example, so your electric bill is something that is paid every month. If you don't pay it, you will be shut off your electricity. However, the amount of bill will vary depending on how much electricity you use. So typically, electric bill are high in the summer when you use our air condition. Yes, so it can be easily changed. Electric bills, it is both fixed expenses and variable expenses. Why? Well, because it is not easily changed. Because when your electric bill is like something you have to pay every month, and if you don't pay it, you'll be shut of electricity. So it is not easily changed of that, because we need electricity. But however, the amount of bill will be easily changed. It'll be very depending on you, on how much electricity we use. So typically, maybe in the summer you use the air condition, so like you have the air condition, so you can be cool. Yes, you don't want to get out hot. You use air condition more. So variable expenses it is too, because it can easily change since it's in the summer, and also it is also fixed expenses. I think you got it what we learned today. So let's erase all this and practice. I'm not gonna practice on the board here. I want to practice on like the assless. Oops, sorry. Oops. It's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be like this. Okay, great. Okay, so Tracy electricity bill is $39 every month. Would this be an example of fixed or a variable expenses? A. This is a fixed expenses because every month Tracy must pay $39 for electricity. B. This is neither fixed nor variable expenses because people do not have to pay for electricity. C. This is a variable expenses because Tracy used electricity some month but not other month. Okay, so let's read this one again to find out which is the best answer. Tracy electricity bill is $39 every month. Yes, $39 every month. Would this be an example of a fixed or variable expenses? Okay, wait a minute. Because there is something wrong. Okay, great. Let's come back. We know that her electricity bill is $39 every month. So if she used this one every month, every single month, and she didn't use more anymore, then it is hard to change. So it would be like in the fixed. It will be in the fixed expense, but maybe it is every month from the year. So yeah, it is fixed expenses because every month Tracy must pay for $39 for electricity. It depends on how she used, of course. Let's read the other answer because I think A might be the right answer, but who knows? We must read the other answer too. B. This is neither a fixed nor variable expenses because people do not have to pay for electricity. This is definitely wrong because we have to pay for electricity because if we don't pay, they'll cut out our electricity. So B is definitely a wrong one. C. This is a variable expenses because Tracy used electricity some month but not the other month. This one might be right, but in here they said she paid every month. It didn't say anything about that she didn't pay for the other month. So A is the best answer. In July, Tim spent $127 on restaurant bills. Would this be an example of a fixed or variable expenses? Well, okay, let's read the answer. A, this is a variable expense because Tim could cook his food at home instead of going to the restaurant. B, this is a fixed and variable expense because everyone needs to eat out at least once a month. C, this is a fixed expense because every month Tim must spend about $127 on restaurant bill. Okay, so we know that in July, not the other month, Tim spent $127 on restaurant bill. Well, I think A is the best answer because it said this is a variable expense because Tim could cook his food at home instead of going to a restaurant. Yes, Tim could definitely cook at home instead of going to a restaurant because at a restaurant it is really hard. It have many fancy food and you have to pay a lot of money for that. So you don't want to spend too many money on restaurant bills. And by the way, you can always cook at home. It depends on how Tim spent his money. He can either go to a restaurant, but he don't have to. He don't have to go to the restaurant to eat every day. So I think A is the best answer. B, this is a fixed and variable expense because everyone need to eat out at least once a month. Okay, you don't need to eat at a restaurant like once a month because like my family, the last time my family go to the restaurant to eat, my whole family, yes, is 3 years ago of my mom's birthday. Yes, so we don't go to restaurant very much. We always eat at home because when going to restaurant it is very expensive. So we have to save our money for our goal, of course. So B is not the correct answer because it said everyone eats out at least once each month. Well, you don't have to go out eat at least once each month because you don't have to. You just don't have it. It depends on you. See, it said it is a fixed expense because every month Tim must spend $127 on restaurant bills. Well, Tim don't have to spend on restaurant bill. He don't have to go to the restaurant every single day, every single month to pay this bill. And it is not necessary. So C is not the correct answer and B is not a correct answer. So A it is. I want you to read this and find about this because we do spend a lot of time learning about fixed expenses and variable expenses in this lesson. Well, by the way, maybe the next time your parents pay electricity, what happened? Okay, so maybe the next time your parents pay electricity bill or grocery bills, you might remember this lesson of mine. Thank you for coming and have a wonderful day.